We have a new music friend for us today. My old buddy, Steve Andreoni. I've known Steve since 1980. Yes, sir. That's a long time, ladies and gentlemen. And we've had good times over the years. He actually played, the last session he played on this particular instrument out in California was for my tune Rosebud that was on Radio Free Gristle. And then I revisited it on my acoustic Gristle Soup record. And Steve moved back to town here a little bit, and he's just retired recently from a clandestine organization, ladies and gentlemen. So, in other words, be nice to us, or else there will be ramifications, grisly ramifications. Anyway, and I said, hey, wouldn't it be fun if we run some tunes and maybe have you over on Mondays for our acoustic activities? And so we were going to do it yesterday, but the kids were in town and we were playing, you know, board games and stuff. Now two of them have gone back to their various lairs, if you will. So we had a little room today. So Steve came over, we ran through a couple songs, and we're going to acoustify today. Are you guys ready for that kind of activity? Are you ready for those kind of proclivities? All right, I like it. See on the screen here, we see where all they're chiming in from the various portals. What is this new devilry, says Adam Bomb. I like that kind of talk. All right, here we go. Let's try a little bit of that. Tongue twister. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? That's a little bit of that Rosebud. That was written for me mums. You know, my mom was always bothering me back in the day. Why don't you ever play that acoustic guitar? But she had always a little bit of the Wisconsin accent. Why don't you play a little bit of that acoustic guitar? She'd get a little bit of that oostic. And so when I finally recorded this song, I was out in California. Steve lived out there at the time. Came over to actually Steve Vai's place, which was a cool joint, I might add. And not if I can location name drop, but I think I just did. Skadoidle. Anyway, so we recorded that tune, and my idea for that record, Radio Free Gristle, was to have like little vignettes in between the songs. So I thought it'd be really funny to have my mom yell at me, Rosemary, to beseech me by saying, why don't you ever play that acoustic guitar? So I called her up on the phone, and I said, hey, Mom, we're doing the session. I want you to just say over the phone, Greg, why don't you ever play that acoustic guitar? And she's like, are we rolling? She was like, she was in. So we put the microphone up to the phone and, Greg, why don't you ever play that acoustic guitar? It was perfect. So you can hear that still on the old Radio Free Gristle. Can you dig it? All right. So we are going to do another tune from the acoustic Gristle record. And if you don't have that one, you need to get it immediately because I need more grocery money because I'm hungry. Actually, you know what? It's Mekong Monday. We're going to get Vietnamese food today. So there you go. But this is a little song I came up with called Lowell-esque. It's kind of Lowell Georgie-ish. It's in open G tuning, that as was that first tune. I'm going to do 3 tunes here in open G. And yeah, and then there we have it. Dylan back there on the drums, of course, my boy. That's my boy. And Steve Andreoni on the bass, ladies and gentlemen. Going way back. Way back. Is it okay to tell the story about how you made me call your mom and pretend I was me? All right, so check this out. So back in the day, we were rehearsing for something in high school, and his mom was super strict, and he had to be home at like 9 p.m. on a weeknight, right? And we were rehearsing, and we just needed a little more time to rehearse. I said, Steve, is there any way you could call your mom and say, hey, we just got to rehearse for like another hour? He's like, there's no way. There's no way. He goes, the only way it'll work is if you pretend that you're your dad and call her up and ask if we could spend more time rehearsing. I was like, I can't do that. I mean, your mom terrifies me. He's like, no, just do it. Just do it. So I call up, and it's just not good. And, you know, my dad was a very gregarious, you know, charmer, and, you know, not afraid of anything. And here I'm calling up, hello, Diane. Oh, George Koch calling. Listen, the fellas are, send my son home immediately. Yes, of course. Oh, that was terrifying. Well, I'm feeding back here a little bit. What do I got? Anyway. And off he went. Somehow we got through the gig as we were. Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good for our first day back in the saddle, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do one more quick tune in the key of G, key of open G that I'm doing. There's a little Muddy Waters tune. And this is a little thing called I Just Can't Be Satisfied, a song about the need for great satisfaction. Can you dig it? Will you dig it? Steve Andreoni, ladies and gentlemen. Can you dig it? Slap that bass like you owe it money, says Sugar Denny. Super Denny. I like Sugar Denny better. Sorry, Super Denny, you're now Sugar Denny. Woo! Well, I'm going away, baby. Won't be back no more. Going down south, child. Don't you wanna go? Lord, I'm trouble. I'll be all worried mind. Well, I just can't be satisfied. I just can't keep from crying. Well, I feel like slapping pistol in your face. Old graveyard gonna be your resting place. Lord, I'm troubled. I'll be your worried mind. Well, I just can't be satisfied. I just can't keep from crying. Sleep, hear that doorbell ring, going downstairs. Lord, I ain't seen a doggone thing. Lord, I'm troubled. I'll be your worried mind. Well, I just can't be satisfied. Just can't keep from crying. Little old baby, she gonna jump and shout when that train rolls in, Lord, and I'll be stumbling out. Lord, I'm troubled. I'll be your worried mind. Well, I just can't be satisfied. I just can't keep from crying. Well, all right. Oh, Sassy Cat wants to hear a little bit of Nubby. We'll work that up next time. We'll work that up for next time. Nubby was a hoarder man. He was. He was a hoarderman. Mm-hmm. That's right. Don't be afraid of it. All right, I'm going to tune up here to whatever tuning I'm supposed to be in. And then we're going to do another selection from our friendly neighborhood radio, not Radio Free Gristle. It's so much gristle. I can't keep my gristle straight. Acoustic gristle soup, a powerful roux is the acoustic gristle soup, ladies and gentlemen. And you just soak it up with some delicious gristle biscuits. And gristle biscuits. They're what's for dinner, y'all. Did everyone have a good Thanksgiving? We had a good Thanksgiving. We ate like warriors of the night. Of course, we always do that anyway. But this time we were more thankful for our great repast. We were so thankful for our feast. I'm using this acoustasonic. It's hard to say. Words are hard, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that. And this is a Fender instrument that actually Fishman did all the electronics in this bad boy. And I'm going into what I'm staring at right now is the Aura preamp, which sounds a little dirty if we're honest. I'm staring into my aura. I guess it sounds kind of metaphysical, crystally. Maybe we should have some incense going. And there's a tuner on there, and I'm not using any of the imaging because the imaging is already on the guitar, you see. So I have the imaging off, but it's still a great analog preamp with a delicious compressor. I have the compressor on just a little bit, not so that you can hear it, but it's just so I can feel it. Because compression, I feel, adds talent, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're feeling a little talent deprived, just deploy your compressor and Lord have mercy, your skill level will increase several-fold. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and squirrels. Anyways, and Steven's got a Fishman, you've got a bass blender. He's going out of that and he's going into the platinum preamp. If we look down on the ground here, we could probably, hang on, do I not have my foot switch plugged in? Oh, damn it. I don't have my foot switch plugged in. Ryan Fitzsimmons. Anyways, on the ground, if you will imagine, if you can vision in your mind's eye, there's a delicious Fishman Platinum preamp, and that's what Steve's going into our friendly neighborhood Tascam Model 24, and out through sweet the Macintosh via our DAW of choice, which is a Logic, which is something that is avoiding me right at this particular juncture in time. Can you dig it? Anyway, everyone doing good out there? I'm seeing one for Jimmy's birthday. I did a nice little Jimmy thing yesterday on my inner Googles portals. I did a little version of Happy Birthday in the Hendrixian style, replete with various allusions to Big Jim. And Martin Lane says, talent booster. That's correct. That's the other name for a compressor, is a talent booster. Actually, I guess when Chet was doing sessions, he'd say to, hey, you want a little talent on there? That was reverb. He'd add reverb. Want a little talent? Talent enhancer. All right, this is a tune of mine called Captain Combover from our doggone my acoustic gristle record from back in the day. This one's a very hard song to play, ladies and gentlemen. But we're going to play it. You know why? Because we're not afraid. On a Monday night in the Gristle Lair, we're just going to take it and take it all. As old Woody Guthrie said, he said, take it easy, but take it. And those are words to live by, I think. I want to get a t-shirt that says that. Take it easy, but take it. Here we go. Woo! I'm going to say that was Sexual Chocolate, ladies and gentlemen. Serve it up, piping hot. It is the holiday season. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but that's what I said anyway. I had a little song called Captain Combover. Funny story about the Captain Combover, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is that years ago, I was down in Tulsa, Oklahoma, doing a thing for Fender. And Jim, what was Jim's last name? Oh, I'm seeing Jim in my mind. Come on, brain. Anyways, Jim, the Fender rep down there, was taking me around to various different stores before we were going to the store that we were actually doing the clinic at that particular evening. So we would show up at a store and they'd say, "Hey, this is Greg. Hey, Greg, are you going to take him to go see Tommy Crooks?" I go, "What?" Everywhere I went, "You going to take him to go see Tommy Crooks?" I'm like, "Do we need to see Tommy Crooks?" "Oh, Tommy, you got to see Tommy Crooks." Next thing we go into another place. We're looking around. "Hey, what's going on? What's happening?" "Hey, nice to meet you. You going to take him to go see Tommy Crooks?" I'm like, I guess this is the thing, right? So then we show up to the gig that we're getting set up, getting ready to go. He's like, "You ever heard of a man named Tommy Crooks?" I go, "As a matter of fact, I have several times today." So I started to get the lowdown on this guy, Tommy Crooks. Tommy Crooks was this guy who, Chet Atkins, apparently when he was on Johnny Carson's show in the 70s, Johnny Carson said, "Is there anybody in particular that, you can think of, a guitar player that, have you seen recently that's blown your mind?" He said, "Tommy Crooks." No doubt he had been to Tulsa, and people told him to go see him. So sure enough, I was like, well, I got to go see this Tommy Crooks. So he was playing at this Thai restaurant, and we show up, and in the lounge of this Thai restaurant is this guy playing with a comb-over, I might add. Not that there's anything wrong with that, mind you. I prefer the beanie approach, be that as it may. He's playing, he's got an ES335 going into like a KB100 PV amp, and then he has this gal singing and this guy playing bass with a massive abdominal goiter, just sitting there, and they were playing, and all of a sudden when he would solo, it was like the seas would part and like the crust of the earth would open up and like demons and angels would be like fighting, because it was just like Django meets Chet on the highway. I'm just sitting there, my mind is being scalded as they're doing these lounge tunes in this Thai restaurant in beautiful Tulsa, Oklahoma. So at one point he takes a break and he comes over to our table because he knows Jim and he knows the other people. Jim King, thank you. Thank you, Brain. And so he comes over to the table and I'm like, my God. I go, you're incredible. Do you have any CDs or tapes or anything? He's like, "I got an Ernest Tubb tape in the car, but you can't have that." And I thought, I think I've understood why no one has heard of Tommy Crooks. But anyway, so every time I would go down to Tulsa, we'd go see him. And so that tune is kind of a shout out to the experience of Tommy Crooks. Captain Combover. Can you dig it? Will you dig it? All right, on another frontier, we're going to do a song of mine called JSK. I have tunes for all my kids, and JSK stands for John Stephen Koch. And this tune I came up with around the time I did the 4 Days in the South record, which ironically was recorded, or coincidentally, or just factually, was recorded 4 Days in the South. At Johnny Sandlin's studio, Johnny Sandlin, who had produced the Allman Brothers, produced the Brothers and Sisters record. He had mastered live at the Fillmore. He also produced Win, Lose, or Draw. And he produced the Greg Allman solo record, the one with Midnight Rider on, Laid Back. He produced all that stuff. So we go down there and we recorded, and I recorded this tune down there. But my favorite part of those sessions, if I may be so bold, we're doing this one song, and I had this kind of slapback delay thing going on, and it was a little bit of kind of a harder edge tune than Johnny probably preferred, and so he had his second kind of engineer that particular track on this day. So he disappears, and we get through the track, and we record it, and we decide to break for lunch. So we get some lunch, and when I come back, there's a note from Johnny, and it just says, "Greg, Satan called. He said, good job." So I took that as, I don't know, was that a compliment? I think it was. I think it was. I'm going to go with it was a compliment. All right, anyway. So this was not the tune. This was he liked this song. A little song called JSK, if I can remember all the parts, as one does. 1, 2, 3, 4. That felt pretty damn good. That song called JSK, ladies and gentlemen. John Stephen Koch is a powerful soul, as the scrolls foretold. As the scrolls foretold, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of scrolls in my world. As well as the Emerald Tablet of Thoth, ladies and gentlemen, where the secrets and powers of Jimi Hendrix were foretold by an alien thousands of years ago underneath the Pyramid of Giza. None of that is true, but Steve's got to switch bases here, and I needed to come up with something. So I began to extrapolate on absolute horse caca. But that's all right. We've come to know it. We've come to dig it. Some questions out there in movie land, as I like to say. So I guess no Zepp today. Oh, when are the next Wildwood outtakes? Well, since I'm going back out there again, there will undoubtedly be more outtakes. Last time I was out there, there was enough tomfoolery for an entire reel, I would imagine. So I'm going back out there soon, and there will be more and more fodder, if you will, for a little bit of what we like to call the Wildwood outtakes, ladies and gentlemen. So much tomfoolery goes on in a day. I do between 20 and 25 guitars a day, so that's a lot of noodling and a lot of skadoodling, a lot of talking and a lot of rocking, and sometimes I lose my mind. Just a chunk of my mind goes away, and Jerry says you need to call Steve's mom right now. We could do that actually. Diane. My dad calling from beyond the grave. Saying it wasn't me. Oh, Lord. Lord have mercy. Lord. All right. We are going to do a song right now that I recorded. I rented this church, which is now the Irish Cultural and Heritage Center down on Wisconsin Avenue. And it was then, too. I don't know what kind of church it was before then, but they have this space, really cool, that you can rent out, and I rented out and recorded a record down there called Defenestrator, which means to throw from a window. Have I told you that story? So we went to the rehearsal one day, and I had this tune called, I didn't know what it was going to be called at the time, and Gary Kaler, the drummer and vocalist extraordinaire, came in, and he's like, man, I had the strangest experience on the way here. I accidentally cut someone off on the freeway, and I, waved like sorry. But the guy would take, was not feeling the contrition of one Gary Kaler. So he sped past him and opened up his window of his car and began to throw the various affall that had collected in his vehicle, Big Mac containers, bags, whatever, at Gary. I said, well, you know what that individual was? He was a defenestrator. And so, lo and behold, came up with a nice little title for a song. You never know where they're going to come from, ladies and gentlemen. Could be from a road rage incident on I-94. Can you dig it? Mm-hmm. Can you dig it? Anytime you can use the word affall in a story, I think it's always a good idea, gentlemen. Nothing wrong with any of it. All right, anyways, we recorded this little song, and at the time, I recorded an electric version of the song, which was done, as I recall, on my Vibrolux, custom Vibrolux amp, but I used a Clapton Stratocaster, which I actually prefer the little preamp on there for clean stuff. I don't necessarily like it for all the overdriven stuff, but man, for a clean sound, it sounds delicious. Knight Rider Band says, was that you? Yes. Defenestration of Prague, that is correct, Carl Wallen. And the reason why that's important is because that's where I learned that word. The defenestration of Prague was the reason why the 30 Years' War began, because they defenestrated one of the city officials out of a window, and that caused a bit of a ruckus. But my favorite thing about that story is that the instructor that I learned that from at the University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point, his name was Richard Face. Okay, let's go. What? All right, here we go. That's fancy. That felt damn good. How about that Steve Andreoni on this doggone bass? Steve Andreoni on the doggone bass. All right, we're going to try to do a song. Hopefully I can remember this son of a gun. And the good thing about this is that if you haven't heard the record, you'll have no idea if I'm screwing it up or not, which is a plus. What's crazy about this song is that usually I would just do it with me and Dylan, so I can mess with the form and do it any which way I want. But Steve has charted this song out, so I have to behave myself. I'm going into the tuning of Dad Gad, which was made famous by Jimmy Page. Actually, it was made famous by Davey Graham, who did a version of "She Walks Through the Fair," or through the. He called it "She Walks Through the Bazaar." It's an old Irish tune. Apparently, he had a fixation with the fact that there was a connection between North African music and Celtic music from Ireland. Strange. He did a lot of drugs, apparently. But this was a cool thing. And his version of "She Walks Through the Bazaar," Jimmy Page just absolutely stole for White Summer. So when you hear White Summer, just look online and try to find "She Walks Through the Fair" or "She Walks Through the Bazaar" by Davey Graham. And you'll go, what the Sam hell? I mean, there's some things like borrowing. And there's some things like, you know, doing and then giving credit to. And then there's like, no, that's mine now. So, but you know what? He had the dragon suit, and that makes up for a lot, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that. Someone said, Jimmy Page stole something? No. No. Yeah, but he used that tuning for Kashmir, of course, and Black Mountain Side, which also was a Bert Jansch song as well. So when he does that little live version of White Summer into Black Mountain Side, into Kashmir, the first two things are really Davey Graham and Bert Jansch, and then he goes into Kashmir, which is his. Okay, unless there was a guy on a street corner playing that song that we're not aware of. He said, that's mine now, too. But, you know, hey, what are you going to do? Right, exactly. Pierre Ben-Suzanne also. But I think Davey Graham actually invented the tuning, if I'm not mistaken, if I have my history correct. He came up with the tuning. I just wanted to do that. I just wanted to do that. That was my fault, not Steve's. Can you do it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Davey Graham did indeed invent DADGAD tuning and is a legend. Yes, indeed. I enjoy listening to Davey Graham immensely. If you haven't done the Davey Graham deep dive, you should do it. There is delicious. There's deliciousness in the inner Googles. All right, we're going to try some tunes that we haven't done in our sound check, but we're going to do it now. But I got to retune. I'm going to retune. We're going to do a little Rex Charmer right now, ladies and gentlemen, which is a tune that I wrote out in Colorado. And when I was out there, I took a picture of the old Rex Charmer. The Rex Charmer was a house that was owned by Deirdre Cudahy. Mike Cudahy's wife owned the house out in Louisville, Colorado. And she would rent out the house. And every now and again, off season, Steve from Wildwood would rent me out that house. And in the brochure for the Airbnb aspect of it, or when she would rent it out, it was called the Rex Charmer because it was on Rex Street, Rex and Main Street in beautiful Louisville, Colorado. And I came up with this little jam one day, and I thought, what should I call it? The Rex Charmer! I sat in the living room, and I said, yeah, this is the Rex Charmer. And I used to do it in the video. A lot of times when I'm out at Wildwood, I'm sussing out little snippets. I might come up with an idea earlier in the day, and I'm kind of messing around during the videos, and then all day long I'll be flushing it out more and more until it's done. Steve goes, I know what you're doing. You're writing songs on my dime. I go, it's working out for both of us. So, but that happens quite a bit. You'll see little, hey, didn't that song come? I heard that in that video. Oh, I gotta go. Come on now. Come back to earth, my sweet acoustasonic. Don't forget that this is brought to you by our friends at Fishman. And we are all Fishmaned up here, ladies and gentlemen. This Fender Acoustasonic is teeming. It's riddled with delicious Fishman technology. And makes it so I can play in the room here and be mic'd up and not have it howl like a banshee in heat. The ghost of the Rex Charmer. That's right, Rich Moran. I see you. And anywho, and all right, here we go. We're looking at some of the commentaries here. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. That felt damn good. That felt damn good. That's what we do here in Orange Room. We engage in spirited musical congress. And for those who are wondering who this individual is to my left, you're right. It's my old buddy Steve Andreoni. We grew up together back in the day, and he's moved back into town. He is retired from his former job and has time on his hands to do some musical activities. And I thought, man, let's do the Acoustic Monday with Steve. Turn of the Burner still dialed in with Friday. It's not like there's a bass fight going on. Oh, wow. Fight. And yeah, we go back to 1980, I think we met each other back in the day. And we were in the Kids from Wisconsin together, as a matter of fact. That's a funny story. There was this group, there still is this group, Kids from Wisconsin. It's this kind of wholesome aggregation of singers and dancers and like band people that get together and they kind of cherry pick. You know, people audition for this thing. Supposed to represent, you know, some of the movers and shakers in their various different burgs in Wisconsin to engage. And show tunes, if we're honest, for the most part, for the summer. And Steve's describing this thing to me. He's like, man, you got to go on this thing and this. I've been doing it for the last couple of years. It's great. You know, you make dough and you travel around. There's a tour bus. And I'm thinking, yeah, chicks, party. You know, next thing you know, I'm in and I've got sequins on, flesh tone underwear, a pirate shirt, and playing a variety of different things. And but that all happened in the summer of 1984, ladies and gentlemen. And there's probably video footage somewhere that could be used. But there's some good times. Sing hallelujah. Yeah, I remember that. I did a lot of that. There was a lot of that going on. Well, that's all right. And then there was the drummer Steve Slam Slayman, who used to do the Anvil Chorus. That was the drum, his drum feature he would do. And he had tuned toms, Dylan. He could go, and then he'd go, and we'd go, slam, slam, or other things. Eventually, we would say other words during that part. But then we were discouraged not to do that anymore by the powers that be. Can you not say what you're saying there for that thing? Okay, because you know. All right, we're gonna do one last tune for you. We haven't done this one yet either, but I'm confident it's gonna be groovy. This is a very hard song to play as well. I don't know why I don't know why I write these songs. I don't know what happens. Here we go. I want to. Just like that, ladies and gentlemen, the Vody Shuffle. Can you dig it? Steve Andreoni on the doggone bass. That was our first foray into acoustic Gristle Monday with the mighty Steve. I thought it was fantastic. We'll be back next Monday. You ready? He's ready. He's ready for next Monday. We'll be back on Friday. Don't forget, folks, on Friday, Turn of the Burner will, of course, be here. And then, is that December 3rd, this Saturday? I think it is. Yeah, we got the together.co thing on Saturday as well. And then next Monday, we're going to rock with Steve here. And then the following Friday, I will not be here because I'll be down in Nashville playing at the Ryman Auditorium with the Allman Family Revival, ladies and gentlemen. And then St. Louis on Saturday, and then Denver on the Monday. It's going to be fantastic. Can you dig it? So don't be afraid. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. We appreciate you. We'll see you on the flippity flop. Bye for now.